3,000 years had passed since the galaxy had erased Earth. The memory of the blue planet lingered only in old records, fragmented tales, and the faintest echoes of a species that once dared to dream beyond the stars. The Galactic Council, composed of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, had deemed humanity too unpredictable, too wild, and too dangerous to exist. They had acted decisively, wiping the planet and scattering humanity across the stars. The galaxy had thought the humans extinct, but humans were nothing if not resilient. Aboard the massive starship Arc Titan, hidden in the uncharted fringes of space, humanity prepared to return. The ship was a marvel, crafted from fragments of old Earth technology, combined with stolen alien innovations adapted for human use. Its hull shimmered with a deep black stealth coating that made it invisible to even the most sophisticated sensors. Inside, corridors buzzed with activity, crewed by humans who had been trained for generations in the arts of survival, strategy, and combat. Admiral Kalen Voss stood on the bridge, gazing at the starfield beyond the viewports. He was tall, with broad shoulders and eyes that carried the weight of millennia. He had been born centuries after Earth fell, but he had inherited the stories of the lost planet. The stories of lush forests, endless oceans, bustling cities, and human ingenuity that had once shaped the galaxy in small but meaningful ways. Kalen's mind was sharp, and his heart burned with a single purpose: to remind the galaxy that humanity could never be erased. "Status report," Kalen commanded, his voice calm but filled with authority. Lieutenant Mirakor, seated at the navigation console, turned quickly. "All systems ready, Admiral. Stealth jump coordinates locked. We are positioned just outside the Galactic Council's outer territory. Sensors show minimal patrol activity in this sector. The jump will place us within striking distance of their inner worlds without detection." Kalen nodded. "Good. Once we arrive, no unnecessary risks. We strike only where necessary, and we strike fast. Remember, we are ghosts to them. We have 3,000 years of planning behind us. It is time the galaxy remembers who we are." The crew of the Arc Titan had been born in exile, trained to survive and thrive in a galaxy that thought them gone. They had learned to adapt to hostile environments, to repurpose alien technology, and to think in ways no other species could. Their strength lay not in sheer numbers, for humans were few, but in their ingenuity, courage, and relentless spirit. As the ship hummed with energy, Kalen walked the length of the bridge, inspecting his crew. Each officer moved with precision, their movements fluid and practiced. Humans had become masters of adaptation, capable of turning the strangest technology to their advantage. Sensors calibrated to detect invisible ships, weapon systems designed for stealth attacks, and drones capable of autonomous operations filled the Arc Titan. All of it would be used to remind the galaxy that humans were not extinct. They were evolving, and they were coming home. In the quiet of the ship, Kalen allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He thought of Earth, its skies, its oceans, its forests, and the bustling cities that had once teemed with life. The Council had believed that by erasing the planet, they had erased humanity itself. But humans were not a species that could be contained by walls, shields, or decrees. They were survivors. They were explorers. They were fighters. And now, after millennia of preparation, they were ready to return. "Admiral," Mira said, breaking his thoughts. "Stealth jump ready on your mark." Kalen turned, his eyes sharp. "Engage, and may the galaxy remember the cost of underestimating us." The Arc Titan surged forward. Stars stretched into lines of light as the ship slipped through space faster than any sensor could detect. In the span of a heartbeat, the ship disappeared from the eyes of the galaxy, moving like a shadow across the void. Meanwhile, on a distant council planet, officials were beginning their daily routines, unaware that the past was returning to haunt them. The council chambers were filled with representatives of countless species, each confident in their superiority. They discussed trade agreements, border disputes, and minor skirmishes, never suspecting that the humans they had so easily written off were already moving through their territory. "Reports from the outer sectors," a counselor said, speaking in the common galactic tongue. "There are anomalies in sensor readings, ships appearing and disappearing without trace. Intelligence reports small attacks on outposts, but the perpetrators remain unknown." A hush fell over the chamber. Whispers spread like fire. The thought of humans, long believed extinct, was considered impossible. Yet the signs were undeniable. Something was moving through their borders with precision and stealth that no known species could achieve. Back on the Ark Titan, Kalen monitored the progress of the stealth jump. The ship emerged in a remote system near the Council's inner territories. Stars gleamed with distant suns and planets orbited silently, unaware that a storm was about to arrive. Scans show multiple Council outposts within reach, Mira reported. We can strike and disappear before reinforcements arrive. Kalen's lips curved into a small smile. Prepare teams for targeted operations. Focus on communications and supply lines first. We cripple them before they even know we exist. Humans are not here to fight blindly. We are here to show the galaxy the cost of arrogance. In the dark corridors of the Ark Titan, humans moved with purpose. Teams carried advanced equipment, designed to infiltrate and disable Council technology silently. Drones hummed through ventilation shafts ready to disrupt surveillance networks. Every movement was calculated, every decision designed to maximize impact while minimizing risk. This was not a reckless vengeance, it was a demonstration of humanity's unmatched adaptability and intellect. Kalen walked to the observation deck, looking out at the planets below. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. 3,000 years of exile had forged humanity into something greater than it had been. They had learned, adapted, and grown stronger. And now they would reclaim their place in the galaxy, not with mindless destruction, but with precision, cunning, and the undeniable proof that humans could never be erased. Admiral, Mira said from behind him, teams report readiness. We move on your command. Kalen turned, his eyes glowing with resolve. Then let them see what humans are capable of. Begin operations. The galaxy will remember our name. As the teams prepared to deploy, the Ark Titan shimmered with a faint energy field, a testament to the advanced technology humans had mastered. It moved silently through space, a ghost among stars invisible to even the most powerful sensors. For the first time in 3,000 years, humans were returning to the galaxy that had once cast them aside, and they would return not as victims, not as remnants, but as a force that the Council, and every species in the galaxy, could not ignore. Below, planets continued to orbit silently, unaware that history was being rewritten. Humans had learned, humans had survived, and humans were ready. The galaxy would soon learn that even when erased, humanity's spirit could never be extinguished. The Ark Titan drifted toward its first target, the crew silent in anticipation. Outside, stars glimmered, indifferent to the unfolding drama. Inside, humans moved with purpose, precision, and the unshakable belief that they were the rightful heirs of the galaxy. Admiral Kalen Voss stood tall on the bridge, eyes fixed on the Council's worlds. 3,000 years ago, they erased us, he said softly, almost to himself. But we survived, and now, we return. The stars ahead seemed to pulse with possibility. The humans of the Ark Titan were more than survivors. They were a storm waiting to be unleashed. And the galaxy would never forget their return. The first strike was about to begin. The Galactic Council had grown complacent over 3,000 years. Their fleets were vast, their technology advanced, and their confidence in their own superiority absolute. No one could have imagined that humanity, thought extinct, was already moving among their stars, invisible and patient, like a shadow waiting for the perfect moment to strike. On the Council capital, a planet of gleaming spires and silver towers, life went on as usual. Representatives of countless species gathered in the high chambers, discussing matters of trade, diplomacy, and border disputes. Peaceful diplomacy had become their default mode, for no species dared challenge the Council's authority. Yet in the depths of the Council's outer sector, humans were already changing the balance. Admiral Kalen Voss stood on the bridge of the Ark Titan, monitoring Council sensor grids and patrol routes. His mind worked like a finely tuned engine, calculating every movement, every possibility. Beside him, Lieutenant Mira Kor typed rapidly at her console, reviewing the latest intelligence. Admiral, she said, her voice steady, our teams have reached the first outpost. Communication systems are offline. No alarms triggered. The Council believes this was a system malfunction. They do not yet know we are here. Kalen nodded. Good, keep it that way. Let them grow comfortable before the first shock. Silence is our weapon now. In the shadowed corridors of the Arc Titan, small human teams prepared for covert strikes. They moved silently, their suits blending perfectly with the darkness. Every movement was deliberate, every action calculated to leave no trace. Humans had always been underestimated. Their enemies often relied on brute force or predictable patterns. But humans thrived on improvisation, on seeing angles others could not, and on turning even the smallest advantage into victory. On the Council capital, sensors flickered and reports of anomalies began to surface. Outposts claimed brief communications blackouts. Patrol ships vanished for hours, and some automated defense systems shut down without explanation. Council officials were puzzled but hesitant to admit the impossible, that humans might still exist. Councillor Varel, a tall insect-like species with glimmering carapaces, frowned as he reviewed the reports. These anomalies, they cannot be random. Every system affected is precise. Whoever is behind this knows our protocols intimately. Another councillor, a reptilian species named Tharek, hissed sharply, "Impossible. Humans have been extinct for 3,000 years. There is no way they could survive this long, let alone operate so effectively." Varel's mandibles clicked in thought. Perhaps they were never truly extinct. Perhaps they adapted in ways we cannot predict. We cannot ignore this threat any longer. Back aboard the Arc Titan, Kalen watched the Council's confusion with quiet satisfaction. This was exactly the effect he had hoped for. Humans did not need to reveal themselves immediately. By striking silently, they could destabilize the Council from within, forcing doubt and fear to spread faster than any fleet could travel. "Target acquisition complete," Mira said, breaking Kalen's thoughts. "Our teams are ready for the next operation. We can disable the supply chains for 3 major Council fleets without detection." Kalen's eyes narrowed with focus. "Do it, but remember, precision over destruction. We are not here to wreak chaos. We are here to show the galaxy that humanity survives, adapts, and excels. Every strike must remind them of that." The teams deployed swiftly, using advanced drones and hacking systems. They infiltrated Council supply networks, rerouting resources, shutting down critical logistics nodes, and leaving the Council fleet in disarray. The first shocks were subtle, but they were felt immediately. Patrols missed key signals, fleets ran low on fuel and supplies, and communication lines failed at the worst possible times. Council officers scrambled to investigate, but every time they thought they had located the intruders, the trail disappeared. Ships appeared to vanish, systems failed without cause, and automated defense systems turned against each other due to subtle manipulations by human technology. Kalen moved to the observation deck, where stars glittered like diamonds against the dark void. "Do you see that, Mira?" he asked quietly. "The galaxy believes it controls everything, but it cannot control us. Not anymore." Mira looked out at the distant planets. "It is almost poetic. They think the humans are gone, yet we move among them like ghosts. They cannot fight what they cannot see." Kalen allowed himself a small smile, "And that is the first lesson the Council will learn. Humans are not so easily erased." Meanwhile, on the Council capital, panic began to spread. Sensor anomalies escalated into fleet malfunctions, and Council officials could no longer hide their fear. Rumors of a surviving human fleet circulated, whispered in the halls and corridors. No one knew the truth, yet the suspicion alone was enough to sow distrust. Virel and Tharek convened a secret meeting, attempting to coordinate a response. "We must strengthen our patrols and sensor coverage," Virel said. "We cannot allow these intruders to destabilize our systems further." Tharek shook his head. "They are not using conventional tactics. Whatever they are doing, it is clever, adaptable. They strike and vanish before we even notice. This is unlike anything we have faced before. This is human ingenuity." The mention of humans sent shivers down the spines of all present. To think that the species believed extinct was manipulating the Council's systems with such skill was terrifying. It was a lesson in humility that no other species could have taught them. Back aboard the Arc Titan, Kalen's teams continued their operations. Small strikes on research outposts revealed critical Council secrets, advanced weapon designs, fleet movement plans, and weaknesses in automated defense systems. Humans cataloged everything, studying their enemy with careful attention. 3,000 years of preparation had made them patient, precise, and lethal, but in ways the Council could not detect. As night fell on distant planets, human operatives completed their missions and returned to the Arc Titan. They moved silently through the shadows of abandoned space stations, leaving no trace behind. Every action was measured, calculated, and designed to maximize impact while minimizing detection. The humans were not just surviving, they were demonstrating the very qualities that had once made Earth a beacon of life in the galaxy. Kalen addressed his crew in the main hall of the ship, his voice echoing with quiet authority. "The Council believes we are extinct. They are wrong. They will continue to believe this until the moment they face us directly. But tonight we have reminded them of a simple truth. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans excel. Our actions today are only the beginning. We move next with precision strikes that will shape the Council's response. They will learn fear, yes, but fear mixed with respect. That is the human way." The crew nodded, inspired. They had grown up in exile, trained to survive in a galaxy that had written their species off. Yet every mission, every strike, and every silent infiltration reinforced their belief. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was stronger than ever. As the Arc Titan drifted through the darkness of space, Kalen watched the Council planets in the distance. He felt a mixture of anticipation and determination. The Council had erased Earth, but they had not erased the humans themselves. And now the humans had returned smarter, stronger, and united as never before. "Next target coordinates uploaded," Mira said. "Council fleet movements indicate their largest supply hub is within reach. We can strike without detection and return before they even realize what happened." Kalen's eyes gleamed with focus. "Then we move. Humanity has waited 3,000 years for this moment. Let the galaxy learn that the species it sought to destroy cannot be destroyed. Let them learn that humanity survives, thrives, and adapts in ways they cannot imagine." And with that, the Arc Titan leapt into motion, moving silently toward the heart of the Council's territory. Stars stretched into lines of light as the ship accelerated, unseen and unstoppable. The humans were ghosts, shadows among planets, and the Council remained blissfully unaware of the storm that was coming. In the Council capital, officers scrambled, sensors blipped with mysterious anomalies, and fleets moved in confusion. Yet the humans were already steps ahead, striking with precision, leaving no evidence, and demonstrating the skill, adaptability, and determination that had once made Earth a remarkable planet. The first chapter of humanity's return was ending, but the story of their vengeance and triumph had only just begun. The galaxy, proud and arrogant, was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. Humans had returned and they would not be stopped. The galaxy had never seen warfare like this. The Galactic Council, confident in its fleets and systems, was suddenly faced with a threat it could not understand. Ships appeared where no ship should exist, outposts failed without reason, and communication networks faltered. And always, in the center of the chaos, humans moved with unmatched precision. Aboard the Arc Titan, Admiral Kalen Voss reviewed the latest reports. "Our teams have successfully disrupted 3 major Council fleets," he said. "Minimal losses, maximum effect. They still do not know who is behind it." Lieutenant Mira Kor, seated beside him, studied the sensor feed. "Council officers are scrambling. Their fleets are in disarray. Supply lines are compromised and their communication is unreliable. They're trying to coordinate, but every step they take seems to be anticipated." Kalen's eyes narrowed. "Good, this is exactly what we want. Confusion is a weapon. The galaxy believes humans extinct. Yet here we are, proving that survival, intelligence, and adaptability are far more dangerous than raw power." Humans had spent centuries studying the Council's tactics. They knew that direct confrontation would be costly. Instead, they relied on strategy, stealth, and ingenuity. Small strike teams infiltrated enemy ships, converting Council technology to human use. Drones that could move faster than Council sensors neutralized weapon systems before any attack could begin. Every move was calculated to inflict maximum disruption with minimal human exposure. In one sector, a human strike team approached a Council fleet from an unexpected angle. Automated sensors did not recognize their presence. Using modified drones, the humans disabled the fleet's targeting systems. Missiles malfunctioned, shields faltered, and the Council ships were rendered useless without a single human casualty. The team watched from a safe distance as chaos erupted. "Impressive," said Kalen, observing the feed. "Humans do not just fight, we adapt. We turn the strengths of our enemies against them." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, panic spread among the Council ranks. Officers argued, fleets miscommunicated, and old rivalries surfaced. The Council's confidence cracked under the pressure of an invisible enemy. No one could locate the humans, yet their presence was felt everywhere. Councillor Varel's mandibles clicked nervously. This cannot continue. Our fleets are being disrupted with precision. How is this possible? Humans have been extinct for 3,000 years. Tharic hissed in frustration. It is as if they have studied us for centuries. They know our tactics, our weaknesses, our patterns. This is not war. It is strategy perfected. Kalen smiled quietly aboard the Arc Titan. Every Council mistake, every misstep, reinforced his belief in humanity's edge. Humans were not just resilient, they were thinkers, planners, and creators. While the Council relied on technology and numbers, humans relied on ingenuity, courage, and the ability to improvise under pressure. The Arc Titan moved to a new sector, where a Council research outpost had developed advanced starship weapons. Human strike teams infiltrated the station silently. They copied critical designs, sabotaged defensive systems, and left no trace of their presence. Within hours, the Council fleet in that region experienced catastrophic weapon failures during exercises. Officers scrambled to understand the anomalies, only to find that the humans had already moved on. Kalen addressed his officers in the ship's main hall. "Notice something important," he said, gesturing at a large holographic display showing Council activity. "Our purpose is not to destroy everything blindly. Every action is a message. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans cannot be erased. Let the galaxy witness the first proof of our return, not as victims, but as masters of survival and strategy." The crews nodded, their morale high. For generations, they had trained in exile, believing in a dream their enemies had tried to destroy. Now they were turning that dream into reality. Humans had learned to think creatively, act decisively, and use brains as much as brawn. This was the human edge, and the Council had no answer. In the Council capital, officials convened in emergency sessions. Sensor networks were failing across multiple systems. Fleets were missing or misdirected, and research stations reported inexplicable errors. The Council's once unshakable authority was cracking. Varel slammed a claw against the Council table. "We must respond." "Find them! Destroy them!" Tharic shook his head. "We cannot find them. Every attack is anticipated, every fleet movement disrupted before it happens. This is not conventional warfare. Whoever they are human." The word human spread quickly, whispered in fear and disbelief throughout the Council chambers. To think that the species believed extinct could return and challenge the galaxy's most powerful civilizations was terrifying. Yet humans were not attacking blindly. They were demonstrating skill, courage, and intelligence far beyond expectation. Back on the Arc Titan, Kalen prepared the next phase. "The Council believes strength comes from numbers and technology," he said to Mira. "We will show them that creativity, adaptability, and unity are far stronger. Begin operations in the northern sector. Focus on disabling their fleets while leaving them alive. This is about sending a message, not annihilation. Yet." As the human teams deployed, they executed flawless precision strikes. Drones disabled navigation systems, communications were cut, and supply lines were rerouted to human control. Each fleet immobilized was studied carefully. Humans cataloged weaknesses, analyzed tactics, and adapted their own strategies. Every step proved one simple truth. Humans were survivors who could turn even the most advanced systems into tools for success. Council fleets attempted to regroup. Officers gave orders, but confusion spread quickly. Ships were in the wrong locations, weapon systems malfunctioned, and intelligence reports conflicted with observed activity. Council leaders began blaming one another for failures, weakening their unity further. Kalen observed it all with satisfaction. "Look closely," he said to his officers. Fear and doubt spread faster than fleets. Humans do not just strike with weapons, we strike with mind and spirit. Let the galaxy learn that even when underestimated, humans adapt and thrive. On one isolated outpost, a human operative named Lyra Core infiltrated a research facility. She moved silently through the halls, her suit blending with the shadows. Within hours, she had copied critical data and sabotaged security systems. By the time Council officers noticed, she was gone. The facility's alarms triggered, but it was too late. Every failure reinforced the legend of the humans who could not be found. yet whose presence was felt everywhere. Meanwhile, in the council capital, panic reached its peak. Ships were immobilized, fleets were disoriented, and officials could no longer coordinate. The thought of humans surviving 3,000 years of exile, learning, adapting, and now striking with unmatched precision, filled them with disbelief and fear. Kalen watched the chaos unfold on his display. "They believe in power as numbers," he said softly. "We believe in power as intelligence, adaptability, and courage. That is why they fail and we succeed." Mira smiled. "It is inspiring. Every move they make is anticipated. Every fleet misstep is our victory." "Yes," Kalen said, "and this is only the beginning. The Council may think humans are gone, but tonight, they have learned the first lesson. Never underestimate a species that refuses to die." As night fell across distant star systems, humans continued their operations. They moved like shadows, invisible yet undeniable. They disrupted, sabotaged, and outmaneuvered the Council at every turn. And always they left a signature, a message of intelligence, ingenuity, and survival. Humans were not here for mindless destruction. They were here to reclaim their place in the galaxy. The Ark Titan drifted silently through space, its crews resting but alert. The first phase of operations was complete. The Council fleets had been disrupted, outposts sabotaged, and panic had begun to spread through the once unified ranks of their enemies. Humans had proven that strategy, courage, and adaptability could triumph over sheer power and technology. Kalen stood on the observation deck, looking out at the distant stars. 3,000 years ago, Earth was gone, he said softly, but humanity survived. And now the galaxy will learn that survival is only the beginning. Adaptation, courage, and ingenuity are what make us human, and that is a power no one can erase. For the first time in centuries, humans had struck directly at the Council. Not with armies numbering in the millions, not with weapons of mass destruction, but with skill, strategy, and the unshakable will to survive. This was the human way, precise, clever, and unstoppable. The galaxy had felt the first signs of humanity's return. The Council could only guess at the strength and intelligence behind the invisible hand striking their fleets. And the humans aboard the Ark Titan were only getting started. The first blood had been drawn, not in violence alone, but in the demonstration of a species that could not be forgotten. Humans were back, and the galaxy would never look at the stars the same way again. The galaxy trembled quietly under the invisible hand of humanity. The Galactic Council, once the unchallenged authority of the stars, now found itself scrambling to respond to an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere. Humans moved with precision, turning the Council's own technology, numbers, and arrogance against them. This was not mindless revenge. It was a lesson in ingenuity and survival. On the Ark Titan, Admiral Kalen Voss observed the unfolding chaos with a calm but sharp mind. "Our operations have weakened their fleets and supply lines," he said to Lieutenant Mirakor. "Now it is time for the next phase. Show them that humans are not just survivors. Humans are unstoppable when we adapt, strategize, and fight as one." Mira nodded, her eyes reflecting the holographic map of Council territory. "The largest supply hub is within reach. We can immobilize their central fleet without detection. It is risky, but it will force them to see the humans as a true threat." Kalen's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "Risk is part of ingenuity. We strike with precision, not recklessness. The galaxy must learn that humans do not simply exist, they excel." Across the Council's territory, fleets were already in disarray. Communications had been disrupted for days. Outposts remained silent, and intelligence networks were compromised. Council leaders debated endlessly, each blaming the other for the failures, none daring to suggest the impossible, that humanity had returned, stronger and more cunning than ever. "Reports indicate another fleet has been immobilized near the northern quadrant," Councillor Varel said, his mandibles clicking nervously. "It cannot be random. Every disruption is calculated, precise, almost intelligent," Theric hissed, pacing. "Humans, it must be them. But how? We eradicated them 3,000 years ago." Varel frowned. "Perhaps they adapted. Perhaps they waited. We cannot underestimate them again." Meanwhile, Kalen prepared the Ark Titan for a large-scale operation. Human strike teams were ready, their suits equipped with stealth technology and adaptive systems that could convert enemy weapons to human use in real time. Drones hovered silently, programmed to infiltrate, disable, and gather intelligence simultaneously. Every detail had been anticipated, every contingency planned. Phase 2 begins now, Kalen said firmly. Deploy strike teams to the northern quadrant. Disable the fleets and secure the supply hub. No unnecessary destruction. Let them see our intelligence, adaptability, and strategy. This is the human edge. Teams deployed with unmatched efficiency, using advanced sensors, stealth technology, and adaptable drones. Humans infiltrated council ships and facilities. Within hours, supply lines were rerouted, fleets immobilized, and communication networks disrupted. The council could not respond effectively. Every attempt to repair or counter the humans was met with unexpected resistance, as if the humans had predicted every move. In one dramatic operation, a team led by Lieutenant Rin Halor infiltrated a fleet command ship. Using adaptive hacking devices, they converted the Council's own navigation systems to human control. Ships turned, weapons misfired, and fleets collided harmlessly in controlled confusion. By the time the Council realized what had happened, the human team had already left, undetected and triumphant. Kalen watched the operation unfold on the bridge of the Ark Titan. Notice how humans do not just attack, he said. We analyze, adapt, and use our intelligence to create advantage. The Council relies on power alone. That is why we succeed where they fail. Elsewhere, Council fleets attempted to regroup. Officers shouted orders, but confusion reigned. Ships were in the wrong sectors, weapon systems were compromised, and fleets moved as though manipulated by invisible hands. Humans had taken the Council's strengths and turned them into weaknesses. Every fleet immobilized was studied and documented, reinforcing the human strategic advantage. In the Council capital, panic reached new heights. Sensor networks were failing across multiple systems, and intelligence reports were contradictory. Officials could no longer coordinate effectively. Fear, confusion, and doubt spread like wildfire. The word human was whispered with disbelief and terror in every council chamber. Varel slammed a claw on the council table. We cannot allow this to continue. They are everywhere, yet we cannot see them. Theric hissed angrily. They are not just surviving, they are outthinking us. How is this possible? Kalen allowed himself a quiet moment of reflection aboard the Ark Titan. 3,000 years of exile had honed humanity into a species capable of unmatched adaptability. They had learned from the Council's tactics, studied weaknesses across generations, and turned intelligence into the ultimate weapon. They were not just fighting, they were demonstrating the very qualities that made humans exceptional. Ingenuity, courage, and unity. Phase 3 will be the central strike, Kalen said, addressing his officers. We target their communication hub and command center. The fleet immobilizations have shown them that humans survive. This strike will show them that humans excel. Strike teams moved with precision, infiltrating the Council's central command hub using stealth technology and adaptive drones. Human operatives moved through corridors with silent efficiency, converting systems to their control and leaving no trace of their presence. By the time Council officers realized the breach, humans had already disabled critical command functions, rerouted fleet orders, and compromised defense systems. The Council's fleets faltered under human influence. Orders were misinterpreted, weapons misfired, and fleets collided harmlessly, creating confusion that humans monitored from a safe distance. The Council had no idea how humans could anticipate their every move. Observe, Kalen said to his officers. They rely on power and technology. We rely on adaptation, intelligence, and creativity. That is why humans cannot be erased. That is why humans prevail. Across the galaxy, stories began to spread among Council species. Whispers told of humans who were invisible yet everywhere, striking with unmatched intelligence and skill. Even those far from the conflict could sense the shift in power. The once unquestioned authority of the Council was faltering under a species thought extinct. On the Ark Titan, Kalen convened a strategy session with his senior officers. We have demonstrated our strength and adaptability, he said. The Council sees humans as a threat, but they have not yet understood the depth of our strategy. Next, we will consolidate control over their key systems, show them the human edge fully, and prepare for direct negotiation, not as victims, not as enemies, but as humans who refuse to be erased. Mira nodded. The Council will never underestimate humans again. They will feel our intelligence, adaptability, and courage in every system we control. Kalen's eyes gleamed with determination. Good. But remember, our goal is not mindless destruction. Humans excel because we think, plan, and adapt. Let that be our message. Every strike, every maneuver, every action is proof that humanity cannot be erased, underestimated, or defeated. At the Council capital, confusion was at its peak. Fleet movements were misaligned. Communication systems were failing, and panic spread through every level of command. Officers argued, blamed each other, and sought solutions that did not exist. The humans were everywhere and nowhere, turning the Council's power against itself. Kalen observed the chaos with satisfaction. This is the human edge, he said quietly. Not just survival, not just combat, but strategy, ingenuity, and courage. That is what the galaxy must learn. That is why humans are special. In the northern sector, human teams completed their operations and returned to the Arc Titan. Supply lines were disrupted, fleets immobilized, and the Council's confidence shattered. Every move had been calculated, every mission executed with precision. Humans had turned 3,000 years of exile into a force the galaxy could not ignore. As the Arc Titan drifted silently through space, Kalen looked toward the Council's capital. They thought humans were gone, he said softly. They were wrong. And now they will learn what humans truly are. The first major strikes were complete. The Council fleets were disrupted, outposts compromised, and the galaxy began to understand a simple truth. Humans had returned stronger, smarter, and more adaptable than any species could anticipate. The storm of human ingenuity had begun. The Council could only react, falter, and fear the species it had once tried to erase.
Humanity had shown its edge, not through numbers.
Not through raw power, but through courage, intelligence, and the ability to adapt faster than any enemy could anticipate. The Arc Titan moved quietly toward the next target. Humans were not done. The Council would soon face the full force of human strategy, creativity, and unity, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Humanity had returned. And this time the galaxy would remember. The stars ahead shimmered like a sea of light, indifferent to the storm that was approaching. The Galactic Council's capital loomed in the distance, gleaming with silver spires and advanced technology. From orbit it seemed untouchable. Yet humans, thought extinct for 3,000 years, were already in motion. They had struck fleets, disabled outposts, and shown the galaxy that human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage could not be ignored. Now it was time for the final phase, the culmination of centuries of preparation. Aboard the Arc Titan, Admiral Kalen Voss stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the Council's capital. Around him the crew worked with quiet precision. The ship had become more than a vessel. It was a symbol of humanity's survival, resilience, and brilliance. Every system was ready. Every team was in position. Every mind focused on the moment humanity would reclaim its place in the galaxy. "Admiral," Lieutenant Mira Kor said, her fingers dancing across the control console. "Strike teams are ready. Drones are in position. Stealth systems are fully operational. We can penetrate the central command hub without being detected." Kalen nodded. "Good. Remember, we are not here to destroy. We are here to demonstrate the human way, intelligence, adaptability, and courage. The galaxy will see that we are not victims, not remnants, but a force that survives and thrives against impossible odds." For generations, humans had trained in exile. They had adapted to hostile environments, learned alien technologies, and studied the galaxy in ways no other species had thought possible. Their strength was not in numbers, but in creativity, strategy, and unity. Now every lesson learned over centuries would be put to the ultimate test. "Prepare for infiltration," Kalen said. "Teams Alpha, Beta, and Gamma move out. Drones follow their path. All systems, adaptive protocols ready. Let the Council feel the human edge in full measure." The strike teams deployed silently. Using advanced stealth technology, they bypassed patrols and sensors, moving through the Council's orbital defenses with unmatched precision. Drones scouted ahead, disabling detection systems and rerouting security protocols to human control. By the time the Council realized what was happening, the humans had already infiltrated critical sectors. In the central command hub, alarms blared, lights flashed, and officers scrambled in confusion. "What is happening?" shouted one officer trying to regain control. "Sensors are failing. Fleets are disoriented. Communications are disrupted. Firel, the counselor, glared at the control panels, his mandibles clicking in disbelief. Impossible. Humans cannot exist, yet they are here everywhere, Tharek hissed angrily. We underestimated them, and now we are paying the price. A human team moved through the corridors, adapting alien systems to human use in real time. They did not fight recklessly. Instead, they turned the Council's own technology against them, redirecting fleets, repurposing weapon systems, and immobilizing key ships without causing unnecessary destruction. Every move was calculated, precise, and designed to demonstrate human ingenuity. Kalen monitored every action from the Arc Titan. Notice how we act, he said to his officers. We do not rely on brute force. We adapt, improvise, and outthink the Council at every step. That is what makes humans exceptional. That is why we survive when others fail. Meanwhile, Council officers attempted to regain control, but it was futile. Orders conflicted, fleets moved incorrectly, and automated defenses targeted each other. Fear and confusion spread among the Council species, undermining confidence and authority. The humans were not just winning, they were rewriting the rules of engagement. In one daring maneuver, Lieutenant Rin Halor's team secured the Council's main communication hub. Using adaptive hacking systems, they transmitted a single message across the galaxy. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans excel. The era of underestimating us is over. The message sent shockwaves across Council worlds. Citizens, officers, and soldiers paused, realizing that the species they thought extinct was alive, powerful, and in control. Even the most loyal Council supporters felt doubt and awe. Humanity had not just returned. They had returned as a symbol of resilience and brilliance. Kalen addressed his crew through the ship's internal network. This is the moment history will remember. 3,000 years ago, Earth was erased. 3,000 years ago, humans were scattered. Yet we survived, and we are now reclaiming our place. Remember this. We fight with intelligence, strategy, and courage. That is what makes us human. That is what the galaxy must never forget. The final phase of the operation involved securing the Central Fleet Command. Humans moved with synchronized precision, infiltrating control rooms and rerouting fleet orders. Ships that had once posed a threat now acted under human guidance. The Council, powerful though it was, could only watch helplessly as their systems were neutralized with careful, methodical control. Varel and Tharek realized their defeat was imminent. We cannot fight them directly, Varel admitted. They are everywhere. They are beyond our understanding. Tharek's eyes narrowed. Perhaps this is not just survival. Perhaps this is evolution. Humans have learned to adapt, to overcome, and to excel in ways we cannot. Kalen observed the Council leaders from afar. The humans had not just defeated fleets. They had demonstrated the core of human strength, adaptation, intelligence, and unity. By the time direct confrontation became necessary, the Council's authority had already begun to crumble. On the observation deck of the Arc Titan, Kalen reflected quietly. 3,000 years ago, they erased our planet. They thought that would erase us. But humans are not defined by a planet, by a fleet, or by numbers. Humans are defined by our spirit, our courage, and our ability to adapt. That is why we are here. That is why we will succeed. In the capital's central square, the humans broadcast a message to the entire Council. Images of Earth, of human achievements, and of their resilience filled the screens. We are the humans of Earth, the message declared. We survived when you thought us gone. We return not to destroy, but to reclaim our place among the stars. Let the galaxy remember. Humanity cannot be erased, and humanity will always endure. Across the Council world, citizens and officers watched in silence. Awe, fear, and respect filled every heart. The species they had dismissed for millennia had returned, not with vengeance alone, but with intelligence, courage, and an undeniable presence. Humanity had not only survived, they had triumphed. Kalen ordered the humans to plant a symbolic artifact in orbit where Earth once had been. A small glowing sphere, it represented the lost planet, the centuries of exile, and the enduring spirit of humanity. It shone brightly against the void of space, a reminder that humans had been erased but never destroyed. This is for Earth, Kalen said softly, for every human who lived and died, for every lesson learned, and for every future we will create among the stars. The galaxy will now remember who we are. As the artifact activated, A ripple of energy swept across nearby systems, not destructive but symbolic, a light that could not be ignored. Humans had returned not just to fight, but to inspire, to show that survival, intelligence, and courage were greater than the fear of destruction. The Galactic Council, humbled and changed, sent emissaries to negotiate with the humans. Kalen received them aboard the Ark Titan. He did not meet them with anger or hatred. Instead, he met them with calm authority. The Council sought to erase us, he said. They failed. Humans have returned stronger, wiser, and united. We are ready to reclaim our place among the stars, not with domination, but with intelligence, courage, and collaboration. The emissaries listened in silence. They understood that the humans had proven something far greater than brute strength. Humans had shown that adaptability, ingenuity, and unity were forces no species could ignore. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Kalen turned to his crew. We have reclaimed more than territory. We have reclaimed our legacy, our place, and our identity. Humanity has returned to the stars, and we will never again be underestimated. As the Ark Titan drifted into orbit, humans celebrated quietly. They had not only survived centuries of exile, they had returned to the galaxy stronger, wiser, and triumphant. Their journey had proven one undeniable truth. Humans were special, not because of technology or numbers, but because of their spirit, courage, and ingenuity. The stars ahead promised new challenges, new discoveries, and a new era where humans would be recognized as a species that could never be erased. 3,000 years of exile had forged humanity into something stronger than the Council could ever imagine. And the galaxy would never forget their return. Humanity had returned. Humanity had triumphed. Humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars. The age of the forgotten species was over. The age of humans had begun,